What's up, a cinemashogun here, and after a quick ceasefire and an exchange of hostages and prisoners, the war between Israel and Hamas is back on and raging harder than ever. But as I told you all before, I told you to keep your eyes on the Houthis in Yemen. I know it's been a little while since I talked about this conflict, but since the last video, the Houthis have targeted several more ships. And yesterday, the Houthis went ballistic. Literally, firing ballistic missiles at cargo ships, striking 3 of them, shooting drones at a U.S. Navy ship. But they were able to shoot it down, but the cargo ships all got hit. Now, one was almost about to sink. I don't know if they saved it or not. The other 2, they were damaged, but they're okay. But, I was telling you all a couple of weeks ago that the Houthis are going to continue targeting these ships because they have been successful so far, and there has not been much pushback. If there's no military action, if there's no military response to what the Houthis are doing, then why would they stop? Why? I mean, no one's stepping up to stop them. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, well, why isn't America doing anything? Well, here's the thing, folks. America is the only country out here that's really trying to defend these ships. We have the U.S. Navy floating around protecting these ships. If it wasn't for the U.S. military, we would have seen more ships hijacked or possibly destroyed by now. But America is the only country out here protecting these ships. But you see, the issue is most of these ships are not American. I mean, maybe there's goods and stuff being transported on them that may benefit America. But for the most part, the people on board these ships, they've been from all over the world, several different places in the UK, the Bahamas, Japan, the Philippines. Yet the rest of the world is kind of sitting around waiting on America to do something. So while I will acknowledge the lack of action, the lack of a military response so far has emboldened the Houthis to do what they're doing, and it may get worse, I think we all need to keep in mind that right now it's like the world is depending on America to do something. And it always gets like this. It's like people complain about America putting their nose in places where it doesn't belong. People complain about America getting involved in everything. But then at the same time, we have things like this happening, and then the rest of the world wants to sit around and wait on the U.S. military to do something about it. Oh, now you want the U.S. military to protect your citizens, and your cargo ships, and your ships, and your ships. So right now, America is in this process of trying to get other countries to aid them in responding against the Houthis. And I agree with that because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily really American ships that are being targeted. And all of these other countries, like you have citizens on these ships, these are your ships. Yet you're not doing anything. You expect the U.S. Navy to handle this for you. So you don't got to get your hands dirty. You don't got to worry about anything. You want America to go ahead and handle this problem. Now, I'm sure America will, and they probably want to. But at the same time, you have to really think about it that way. So when you see a lack of action, I can somewhat understand it because I don't think that all of this should be put on the U.S. military. Other countries need to respond and step up and do their part as well. But this discussion has been going on for a long time. A lot of these alliances that America is in, it's one-sided. Even NATO. No one else is paying their part or doing their part. America is basically doing everything. And in a lot of these alliances, I don't think in the long run these countries really benefit us or can help us or will help us, but we're expected to help them every step along the way. But before I go any further, let's go ahead and roll this little news clip, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
Also developing overnight, a major assault by an Iranian proxy group in the Red Sea, with U.S. forces fighting in self-defense. Houthi rebels in Yemen striking 3 commercial ships with ballistic missiles, and a U.S. Navy warship shooting down several drones during that attack. Tom Dempsey has more from Washington. Tom, good morning.
Good morning, Marky. Yeah, this morning, the United States military says all appropriate responses remain on the table in response to these attacks, saying that they jeopardized lives. And while the Houthi rebels in Yemen claimed responsibility for the attacks, the United States has sent out some strong words saying that it believes Iran fully enabled the attacks. According to the Defense Department, 4 separate attacks happened on 3 different commercial ships, taking place over several hours on Sunday in the Red Sea near Yemen. The department notes that the attacks took place in international waters. The USS Carney, which you can see video of here, patrolled the area and responded to multiple distress calls from the ships. According to the Department of Defense, Houthi rebels fired missiles and drones at these commercial ships. And at one point, the USS Carney even shot down a drone in self-defense. The department saying the target of that drone remains unclear, but the USS Carney did not suffer any damage during this. The department sending out a strong statement later on, writing, quote, "These attacks represent a direct threat to international commerce and maritime security. They have jeopardized the lives of international crews representing multiple countries around the world. We also have every reason to believe that these attacks, while launched by the Houthis in Yemen, are fully enabled by Iran." This latest assault comes amid growing concerns over the war expanding in the Middle East. In fact, since the middle of October, U.S. forces in the region have seen an average of almost 2 attacks per day, half of them from Syria, the other half in Iraq, and involving drones and rockets. The Pentagon saying dozens of U.S. soldiers have been injured in these attacks, some of them with traumatic brain injuries. The U.S. has responded to those attacks with coordinated and targeted airstrikes against military facilities tied to military groups in Syria and Iraq with ties to Iran, but still remains unknown if, when, and how the U.S. will respond to these latest attacks near Yemen. Adrian?
So who knows when it will be? Maybe it will have already happened by the time you're watching this video. But I do expect that eventually we're going to see a response. All of these ships being hijacked and attacked, even American ships, the U.S. Navy under attack by the Houthis, U.S. bases under attack in Iraq and Syria. Eventually, we're going to see a large-scale response. And when we do, everyone's going to get hysterical. Everyone's going to be posting videos and photos of, oh, look at what they did now. Look at this destruction. Look at these kids. Look at all of these innocent people. But I want all of you to remember how we got there. Because for the last couple of months now, I've been telling you that, our soldiers are under attack in Iraq and in Syria. And for the last few weeks, we've been watching the Houthis hijack ships, shoot drones at the U.S. Navy. So when we see a response, everyone is going to act as if it came out of nowhere. But at this point, how can you not expect there to be some retaliation? But that's one thing I've noticed about the Middle East. They like to poke and poke and poke and poke and poke and poke the bear. And then when the bear lashes out or the bear roars, then they play the victim. So they'll shoot drones and rockets all day long, do all of this nonsense. And then when someone strikes back or retaliates, they play the victim like, oh my God, why are you doing this? Oh, evil America, evil America. But, I mean, we've watched for weeks, and I do believe that the U.S. military has been very patient, way more patient than I thought they would be. Because I do feel like the U.S., the powers that be, I do feel like they want war, especially with Iran. But, I mean, we've had our troops sitting over there under attack for almost over a month now. Ships having missiles and drones shot at them. Eventually, something is going to come of this. I don't think we're just going to allow all of this stuff to happen. We're kind of just allowing it to add up right now. So when we do respond, it's going to be major, and they'll have their excuses for why, but we'll see. We'll see. I know a lot of people are already getting tired of this. Everyone's already ready to move on to the next thing, but this situation is not over yet, and I do still see the potential for this to spiral out of control and turn into a regional war. But so far, even though there's a lot of casualties in Gaza, this whole entire situation has not gotten as bad as what it could have. But for now, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you're feeling generous, you can donate to the channel directly via Cash App. I will have my Cash App in the pinned comment of this video. You can also donate to the channel via Super Thanks. Or you can support the channel for free by sharing this video, hitting the thumbs up, subscribing, ringing that notification bell. And as always, I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.